Hey, Naldo, what do you call a computer technician who's a creep?
Uh, com I don't know.
You're so close. It's a PDF file. Let's start the creep show. Welcome
What?
everybody to another episode of FYCU Film Review. If I have to explain it, you don't get it. And that's okay, but we've got another review here for you. I'm your host Gagne, with me my partner Naldo. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, man? How's it going, everybody? What's going on?
I guess I should pronounce it maybe like a PDF. It's a pedophile, like a PDF file, a pedophile.
Oh, pedophile, PDF file. That makes
Yeah.
sense now.
I,
That
I
was
said it too
awful.
fast. It was terrible. It's terrible. It's the best I could do.
You know what's terrible? This movie that we're doing is terrible. I am
Oh, come
sorry.
on.
No, we went back into what, 1982?
Yes.
1982, and we decided we are like, oh, we should do a horror movie. We should do an 80s movie. And your bright idea said, let's do a horror 80s movie. And we chose Creepshow from 1982, directed by who's the director? Some guy named
George A.
Romero.
Romero. Yeah, some guy named George A. Romero who
Yeah,
did Night of the Living Dead, the
yeah.
the master of, creepy horror films, did not deliver here.
No,
I'll
wasn't
admit.
it written by Stephen King?
It also was written by Stephen King. So yeah,
Oh,
that should have been a recipe for success, which I mean, in all honesty, it was a decent success at the box office, so much they made a sequel. But yeah, this is kind of rough. Let's get into some issues you had with it. Let hit me
some
on
issues I
first.
had with it. The whole thing was an issue, man. It's like what, five, six stories, horror stories,
It's five
right?
stories, yeah, with a sixth that's kind of like bookended between, the boy who's reading the comic. And it's just too long. I think that's one of the things is like some of the stories, even though they're 20-ish minutes long, 25 minutes long, you're just like, get on with it. You know where
Uh,
it's going before it even gets there.
they were so slow. Some of these scenes were just so slow. Listen, I can get past the cringiness, the 80s stuff, but the acting was just, I don't know. I feel like the acting was really bad. And it just for horror stories, for five horror stories, I felt like each one took forever to tell. It just took too long. You know what was really neat was seeing Leslie Nielsen as a bad guy instead of being his comedic weird self. That was neat. So rest in peace, Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah, and that's actually probably the only one that I think enjoyed from start to finish. Ted Danson,
Yeah.
being buried and alive basically, and then coming back from the dead. Spoilers. It's about the only one that's enjoyable. Again, mostly because Leslie Nielsen plays a bad guy, and so you're kind of like, great, cool. The rest of them really, really interesting. I'll go down the list really quick. Father's Day. I mean, Ed Harris is the best part about it. Ed Harris
Yeah.
dancing.
A
So,
really young Ed Harris.
but hey, the father got his cake at the end, right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
Then you
yeah,
get
yeah.
the
And his
lonesome
king.
death with Stephen King, acting
Oh,
as
that was
well as
bad. That
it
was
was.
that was was really bad. He
Yeah,
turned
I
into
don't.
grass. Everything he
Yeah,
touched turned to grass, then he kills himself.
so he
Like,
killed
come on.
himself. Yeah, and the flashbacks or I guess not flashbacks, but as he's like imagining what would happen if he did certain things in the story, are just terrible. Like it's just
Yeah.
not. I don't know. It played very childlike, and I did not enjoy that one at all. The
Yeah.
Tide You Over, as we talked about, was really good with Leslie Nielsen and Ted Danson. The
Wait, you said
crate.
really good? Come on. Let's take a step back and say what it wasn't that good.
I liked
It
it though. I
wasn't
like
that
the
great.
concept. I like the concept. I like the
So the
getting
concept
buried in
was
the
that
stomach.
Leslie Nielsen's character, he had a girlfriend or a wife, and Ted Danson and her were got together and basically she
Right.
cheated on him and he went crazy and he
Sure.
tied them over. I don't
Yeah.
know, dude.
He buried them in sand, and they drown in the tide coming in.
Oh my
He tortured
gosh,
them to death, but then they come back and get
with the
him.
TV set in the sand. Come on.
I mean, it's the 1980s. That's impressive that he even had TVs.
Okay. Whatever. What's the
The
next one?
The crate with the abominable snowman question mark. It was from the
Oh,
Arctic, so I don't know really what it was supposed to be, but the critter itself was pretty funny. The awful, awful wife just nagging the husband so much that I forgot that that was a thing, and then they like
yeah.
circle back to it again, and you're like, wait, why were those people introduced? Oh, he wants to murder his wife. So
Yeah. That was the lady from the Swamp Thing.
that is Adrian
That was
Barbeau.
the lady from the
Good
Swamp Thing.
call.
Yeah.
That's why her
Yeah.
acting seems so familiar.
That was her. Yep.
And
Hmm.
then yeah, finally we end with the creeping up on you with the original tech bro, I guess, like in
I
his high-rise apartment, and he's haunted by cockroaches that aren't there or there. I don't really know what that was about.
That guy reminded me of Ebenezer Scrooge. If Ebenezer Scrooge was racist, that's what it reminded me of. That dude was so evil and messed up.
He was like awful to everybody, but it was hilarious. Really good actor, E.G. Marshall, who was in like 12 Angry Men, who was nominated for awards, and like, he went on to do so much work. But yeah, I was just kind of like, this is a weird, I don't know, it was
Yeah.
supposed to be in the future. It seemed like it was in the future. I don't know what that
It
one was
was
all
his
about,
apartment. It
but
was a penthouse apartment, but he was nuts. And it was just about cockroaches. And I thought maybe we'd get some kind of crazy monster cockroach, but it was just regular cockroaches that took over. And I'm just like,
yeah.
man, after you give me that crazy abominable snowman, you could just give me cockroaches. Give me something crazy, like a big cockroach. This is ridiculous, man.
Yeah, it's a bit ridiculous. I don't know what to say. I remember like enjoying it as a kid. Maybe I thought because when I was a kid, these were scary or these were like adult stories. But yeah, all in all, it's pretty
Uh,
rough.
Yeah, it's rough. I don't have anything good to say about this movie if you want to rate it.
Yeah, yeah, let's rate it. We're gonna go with how many creeps will we give
Yeah,
it?
let's
Scale
go
of
one to
one.
five.
Yeah, 1 to 5.
Okay, one creep being really bad, five creeps being really good. I'm gonna let you go first because I feel like this was your pick.
It
So you
was
go
my
first.
pick. I was
Yeah,
hoping that this I don't know, fired up some nostalgia for, those campy horror things. I used to love Tales from the Crypt. I
yeah.
thought these things were scary back in the day. They're really not, and they're actually not even like good stories. Like hell, watch a 90s Goosebumps episode and they're probably better
Yes,
than these. So
absolutely.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna go with just about a creep and a half.
Wow,
I
you
think
have?
one and a
Okay.
half creeps.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too long. I appreciated some of it. I laughed here and there, but most of all, it was just too long and too drawn out in every story.
Okay, one and a half creeps. All right. I'm gonna go half a step below. I'm gonna give it one lonely creep. This is a bad movie. I there's certain movies that I want to punch. This is one of those movies. This was just really bad. This movie was it was over 2 hours, almost two
Yeah,
hours, I think,
I think it was
116
that.
minutes. And I felt every bit of it. You would think that by breaking it up into five stories, it would kind of like speed up. It would go faster. I felt every minute of all these stories and the acting. And I don't ever want to watch it again. I don't want to watch Creepshow 2 ever. One creep for me. No, no,
Well,
no.
I will have you know that Creepshow 2 only has 3 stories and is only about 90 minutes long, and I feel like those ones were a lot more scary. So maybe I had the wrong Creepshow, but whatever. We,
Okay.
we live and we learn.
Gotcha. All right. I'm done. We're done. Let's go.
We're done. That's it. That's all the creeps we've got to give today. We appreciate you tuning in. I've been your host, Gagne, with me, my partner, Naldo, and we'll catch you next time.
Have a good one, everybody. Don't watch this movie.